Hello, my name is Kris Williamson. I'm a doctoral student at the University of Hamburg's Asia-Africa Institute, and the title of my presentation is The Pride of Culture, a visual rhetorical analysis of BPMB Rio Islands' official jingle. The central object of study for this paper is the music video The Pride of Culture, which premiered on YouTube on January 30th, 2021. This video is the official institutional jingle of the Rio Islands branch of Balai Pelestarian Nilai Budaya, or the Cultural Values Preservation Center, for which I will refer to simply by its common initialism, BPMB. When watching this video for the first time, I began thinking about how the institution was trying to present itself through the way it was representing Malay culture and values in this particular video. For this music video, I largely ignored the music and the lyrics. With my interest in narratology and visual rhetoric, I considered why these images were intentionally selected by the producers and how this contributed to a culturally and socially constructed reality of Malayness. Specifically, I ask in this paper, how do the representations of Malay culture and values construct a distinct reality for viewers and for the video producers? I'll start this presentation by offering some context as to BPMB's mission and their activities at the Tanjung Pinang branch in the Rio Islands. I will then discuss my objectives and methodological approach to the subject. This will be followed by sharing some of my findings before offering a few concluding remarks. BPMB has branches across Indonesia. The Tanjung Pinang branch of BPMB was established in 1995 under the pretense of forming a body that would represent and manage regional cultures in eastern Sumatra. Its mission includes increasing the community's cultural resilience, raising awareness of local history, instilling pride in cultural values, and educating the public about the importance of practicing, developing, and preserving cultural heritage. BPMB Rio Islands remains active in sponsoring cultural festivals and encouraging local artists through its events, extensive grant systems, and also via the Institute's social media accounts and YouTube channel. The BPMB Kepulauan Rio YouTube channel boasts nearly 300 videos posted and almost 8,000 subscribers as of June 2021. The videos, which range from local traditional performances like Matyong to innovative modern music by local artists, have a few hundred to a few thousand views each and a decent amount of positive and supportive remarks in the comments section. The 5-minute long The Pride of Culture official jingle video is still, as of June 2021, the featured video on the channel. Like the other videos on the page, it promotes Malay culture and values through music, words, and of course, images. Due to the time limitations of this presentation, I limit my research objectives to the following 2 points. First, I will identify a number of visual terministic screens in the video. This will aid in categorizing and identifying themes used in the video. The final objective will be to propose an overarching narrative of the video as represented visually and in using the terministic screens that were previously identified. I will be reading this video by applying Sonia Foss's theory of visual rhetoric. Foss defined visual rhetoric as having 2 meanings. The first is a product individuals create as they use visual symbols for the purpose of communicating. The second is a perspective scholars apply that focuses on the symbolic processes by which visual artifacts perform communication. Foss posited that approaching an artifact, in this case a music video, through visual rhetorical analysis would allow for one to emphasize the importance of the communicative effects of the cultural symbols and visually represented values that may engender sympathies or instill pride, as per the title of the video. It would also reveal the motivations of the creators of the artifact through the rhetorical choices that were in the staging of these representations during its production. As previously stated, my focus in this study is on the constructs of a distinct reality for both the viewers and for the video producers in regards to the visual representations of Malay cultures and values. According to Hill and Helmers, quote, "Reality is always framed by codes that determine what the writer or painter looks at, what they believe is worthy of vision and representation, and what mode of representation they select to describe that reality. Rather than reveal truth or provide understanding, the poem or the image offers yet another meaning." End quote. I pair this with a form of narrative criticism so as to explore the visual rhetorical elements and piece it together as the video presents a narrative constructed by BPMB. This approach will allow for me to propose what effects the visual rhetoric in the video might have on viewers, while also indicating BPMB's rhetorical strategy in creating this narrative that is meant to represent the institute itself, as well as the people in its jurisdiction. I claim that the representations of specific values and Malay cultural displays in the video represent visual terministic screens. As per Burke, a terministic screen directs the audience towards action based on interpretation of a term. Via terministic screens, the audience will be able to associate with the term or dissociate from it. The terms in this case refer to the various cultural representations in the video and the idealistic portrayals of Malay culture so as to encourage sympathetic audiences to associate themselves with it. Among other aspects of note, for this paper, I point out that the BPMB producers emphasized an association with place, a familiarity with cultural artifacts and practices displayed in the video, and then a framing of Malay culture and values that fits within the domain of the younger generations. Because the symbols of Malay values and cultures in the video only carry meaning, or at least a complementary meaning to BPMB's alleged intent, consciously or not, if the viewers are familiar with them, then it is logical to assume that the principal intended audience for the video is Malay, in a broad sense, and a resident of the Riau Islands, or Bintan Island more specifically. This is despite the fact that BPMB Riau Islands is also responsible for programs in Jambi, Riau, and Bangka and Belitung. The first point for consideration is that of place. There are about a dozen distinct sites pictured in the video, whether as the background to the actors or as the central focus of the image. These include the BPMB office in Tanjung Pinang, the nearby Jalan Haji Muhammad Sani Bridge, the so-called 500 Lohan Temple, the main ports of both Tanjung Pinang and Penyengat Islands, the Masjid Raya Sultan Riau and Istana Kantor, both on Penyengat, Gurun Pasir Bintan, a residential kampong-like neighborhood, and various jetties and water villages on the coast of Bintan and along the Charang River just north of Tanjung Pinang. Life and certainly geography of the Riau Islands is heavily influenced by water. Even Bintan, which is one of the larger islands in the Riau archipelago with a sizable interior area, is encircled by ports, jetties, water villages, and bridges to nearby islands. Water and the natural environment feature prominently in the background, or, on occasion, in the foreground of the images. When the natural environment is not present in the images, it is replaced by the built environment, consisting of prominent landmarks and monuments. With a slightly adjusted framing, this music video could easily pass for a Bintan tourism campaign. With the exception of the iconic 500 Lohan Temple, the other buildings in the video hark back to an era when the Malay kingdoms ruled the islands. This is particularly telling when we see that sites from the historical Penyengat Island are the only ones included in the video that are outside of Bintan. The second point is the selection of cultural artifacts and practices. As the video starts, the first image is that of a primary male actor playing a gambus while dressed in traditional Malay attire. Both male and female leads change into a number of traditional Malay attire throughout the video. Backup dancers also wear various traditional costumes, while scenes in the residential neighborhood show people wearing more casual attire, with a few wearing tanja or destar. The lead actors appear in most scenes and are either singing, dancing, playing a musical instrument, or a combination of those actions. Because the video is not of a live recording of the audio, this shows that the performing arts were intentionally included in most scenes. This is expanded to several clips of silat demonstrations by two boys in the village. Hand gestures by the actors mimic dance movements and/or courteous positioning of the hands to imply respect and humbleness toward others. While traditional Malay performing arts and attire dominates the scenes in the video, there are also several clips where the male actor uses both classical instruments as well as computer-aided audio in the performance. The staff at BPMB is seen in the office giving audio-visual presentations in their modern office complex. There are brief scenes with people on boats, fishing at a water village, swimming, standing on a jetty, and sitting in front of a kampong-style house weaving a fishing net. And there seems to be almost identical amount of screen time between males and females. The third point is the emphasis on the younger generations in the video. The lead actors are undergraduate-age students in Tanjung Pinang, and the backup dancers look to be even younger than that. While there are a few mature-aged people in the video, their clips are usually quite brief or are set in the BPNB office. So while BPNB does not or cannot represent itself as being youthful, it has clearly framed the representation of Malay culture and values as being within the domain of the younger generations in Bintan. In the scene set in the residential area, only school-aged children are present. Adults can be seen standing in the doorways of the houses, watching in the background of the scenes. The kids smile, laugh, play, and sing and dance to the refrain of the video's song. Another older youth plays a gambus in some scenes, while younger children wave their hands to the music. I will briefly discuss the construction of a narrative using the above material. These terministic screens, which are only a sampling of those that can be extracted from the video, combine to form a narrative of what BPNB wishes to promote and preserve of Malay culture, specifically in Bintan. The song lyrics that reference exploring Malay customs and safeguarding cultural heritage for future generations do complement the visual rhetoric of the video. However, as illustrated here, a music video can be read critically without considering the lyrics or music for that matter. Using lyrics alone, the narrative of the video could be simplified to imply that BPNB is the hero who tirelessly works to promote Malay culture from an unseen and unnamed villain. But this is not explicitly illustrated in the visuals and symbols found in the video. Instead, the video offers a more descriptive representation of Malay life on Bintan. This consists of an idealized reality of what the creators of the video wish to frame as Malay culture and values that are worthy of preservation and protection. From the visuals alone, viewers see how BPNB conceptualizes of Malay values and culture. First and foremost, the performing arts and traditional attire are prevalent throughout and across the varied landscapes and historical sites around Bintan and Peninga Islands. This ties Malays to the land and shows them as active agents in the practice of traditional arts, from the music and dancing to silat. Fishing and net weaving represent skills held today primarily by those of the older generations, but the multiple scenes showing the use of computers imply that Malays need not be left behind by technological advances. Instead, it shows literacy in both these traditional and modern skill sets. The use of historical buildings in the background of younger people wearing traditional Malay attire links the youth of the present with the real or imagined greatness of the past. Mosques or suraus are easy to see in various images, and a group of 4 youth entering one ties Malay representation in the video to Islam. The facade of the Buddhist 500 Tuhan temple also frequently appears in the background, reflecting that multiculturalism is at least tolerated, but existing at a lower hierarchy perhaps than that of Islam. The scenes in the residential neighborhood showing a large group of children coming together happily implies both the local ummah and that Malay culture and values have a place in the future through these youth. Due to the intentional manner in which these representations in the video were ordered, they constitute a frame of perceived reality or idealized reality, as presented and endorsed by BPNB Riau Islands. The visual terministic frames employed throughout the video allow viewers to associate with the images and use them as reinforcement for preconceived ideas of Malay culture and values. At the same time, these screens may also expand one's perception through visual cues. Not only is the Pride of Culture music video BPNB Riau Islands' attempt to define and frame the culture that they are tasked with promoting and preserving, it is also an advertisement for their activities in this regard. To its credit, in general, and certainly in this video, the institution has actively encouraged participation from youth and the younger generations. In his recently completed doctoral dissertation, Alan Darmawan illustrated efforts of BPNB Riau Islands and other agents in the revitalization of local cultural heritage. Here also, the youth were at the forefront of continuing the practice and performance of traditional art forms. The music video visually represents the central position of local youth as partner in BPNB Riau Islands' work. However, in identifying above the various terministic screens that appear in the video, I hope to have brought attention to the act of framing and curating Malay culture by the institution. In deciding what aspects of Malay culture and values are even represented in the video, BPNB acts as a gatekeeper for acceptable forms of representation. This, in turn, plays a role in shaping how Malay culture is discussed locally, the types of projects and research on cultural topics that will receive funding from the institution, and how people think of Malay culture and values as a result. It is too big of a concept to be simplified into a 5-minute long music video, of course, but it does not mean that attempts to do so should be received uncritically for the way that it influences the way we think of Malay culture and values. Thank you.